Long copy is dead. Period. It's over. Period. Right? Right? Anybody? No, it's not. It's not. Long copy is not dead. I got an email from a subscriber named Sean. And Sean, great subject line is as far as curiosity goes. It would have to be, it was paid off in this one. The subject line was "It's over." Period. And he wanted to know if the whole need for long copy is over, and he was thinking 20 pages or more. And he was hoping I could create a response to that. Well, my response is that long copy is performing as well as ever. And there are businesses that are doing millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, even over $1 billion in sales, primarily driven by long form direct response copy. That's the kind of copy where it opens up with a big idea and it tells an entire selling story, sales pitch. And it brings you through to the point where you are discovering your own need for this particular product, and the product is introduced, and then an offer is made, and it's a compelling offer, and it's all laid out over the course of thousands of words, sometimes 10,000 words or more, and then you make a buying decision based on that. And yes, there are billions of dollars being generated with long copy even today in 2020. And you need to understand, it's not dead and it's not going to die. Now, I will state that there are some very specific instances in which long copy is most important and most effective. So the more complex the sale it is that you're trying to make, the more effective long copy will be. So I had a different subscriber recently ask, how do I get into writing copy for fast food restaurants? And I said, go find the ad agency that works with the restaurants that you want to work with and get a job there. But I can't promise it's going to be that great because the sale is such a simple selling proposition. So you want a burger, there are strategies, and actually strategies are all the more important. And things like understanding the couponing process and all of that for selling hamburgers or value meals or whatever, that stuff is critically important. But the copy for selling a burger tends to be much shorter, and much less value is put on the copy itself versus a financial newsletter. As an example, somebody's going to make their investment decisions for the next year or more for their retirement savings based on this investment newsletter. Well, that sale is a much more complex set of buying decisions that have to be made versus, hey, I want to eat a hamburger today for lunch, right? So the more complex the sale, the more information that needs to go into the buying decision, the longer the copy needs to be to make that sale. And the reality is, as long as you can stay compelling and interesting, there's not a limit. Maybe at some point you need to start breaking up the copy. You need to split it up over the course of a couple of videos or a few different pages or whatever. But so Gary Bensavinga, widely considered one of the best copywriters in the world, he said that when he was starting his career, it was pretty standard. It was considered long for somebody to have a 4-page sales letter. A 1 or 2 page sales letter was very standard for all sorts of products. And Gary said, well, if I have more real estate, I can actually include more compelling sales arguments. I can have more compelling bullets. I can better explain the offer. I can explain more bonuses and guarantees better. I can include more proof that of why all my promises are justified. I can just do more as a copywriter if I have more real estate. So let me try 4 pages for this instead of 2, and we'll see if the additional response justifies justifies the additional expense in printing and postage. And Furr worked. Largely equivalent copy, but the difference being the length. So like the same copywriter writes a 2-page and a 4-page. The 4-page will typically outperform. And then Gary said, what if we do 8? And 8 outperformed. What if we do 16? 16 outperformed. What if we do 32? 32 outperformed. And he even did copy that was even longer than that, and it kept outperforming. And what more and more marketers discovered is that following this path that Gary Bencivenga was taking us down continued to pay off, that long copy continues to outperform because you have more opportunity to do a better selling job. You have more real estate to put this out. And the internet is like an infinite printing press, right? We can write copy as long as we want. And it doesn't mean that everybody has to read every single word. But if we are able to include more sales arguments, we have more opportunity to include that one bullet that's going to flip somebody from being interested to actually making that buying decision, or we're able to add that one bonus that's going to make somebody finally make that decision to move forward, or whatever it is. Like, we have more and more opportunity by taking up more real estate. Now, the natural objection to this is that, nobody has the attention spans that they used to. We have the internet. We have smartphones that have access to YouTube and Netflix and whatever, and we can go watch our favorite shows instead of reading this piece of marketing or paying attention to this piece of marketing. And that's absolutely true. What is different today, though, is not necessarily attention spans, because you sit and you binge watch your favorite show for episode after episode, hour after hour. You stick your attention to that particular message and you stick with it. What's different today is we have more choice easily accessible than ever before. And so your prospect, whereas they used to have the choice between reading the direct mail that showed up in their mailbox or turning on one of the 3 TV channels, your prospect has infinite on-demand access to all the media they could ever want to consume about things that are way more titillating than the average piece of marketing. And so you have to, as the copywriter, as the marketer, if you want to get and hold attention, you have to find a way to make your message as compelling as the next best thing that they can think of, that they could go off and Google and find on the internet or open up in whatever other app is on their phone. So if you want to write this type of long copy that is able to convert, you have to stay as compelling as whatever it is that they want to binge watch. And so your competition is not necessarily other marketing or whatever. Your competition is anything else they could find on the internet. And so if you want to write long copy, you have to evoke that strong of emotion. You have to keep their attention and keep their engagement in a way that those shows are able to do. You have to pull them in and hold them and not let go. Now, one of the other things that's worth noting here is that long copy doesn't always have to look like long copy today. Long copy, yes, it can look like a sales letter. And it used to be that when you wrote long copy, it was pretty much always a sales letter, right? But it can be a video sales letter. So it can be video with text showing up on the screen. It can be webinars. It can be sideways sales letters like Jeff Walker teaches in Product Launch Formula, where you're delivering a chunk today and a chunk tomorrow and a chunk the day after, and it does have kind of that serialized binge watching effect. Like, I'm interested in this, and the next episode is coming out, and yada yada, right? Or it can be email autoresponders. It can be emails delivered through time. It can be all of these different formats and all these different media available today there are different ways that you can think of long copy that's not just I'm forcing someone to sit down for an hour and consume the message. And yet the best marketers are doing that. They are finding a way to grab the attention in a way that is that's as compelling as whatever show is available on Netflix or whatever, right? And they're pulling people in and they're holding that attention and they're not letting go until they've made their offer and they've made it in a compelling way that makes the prospect want to respond. And like when you understand how to do that, those are the highest paid copywriting skills. Being able to write long copy that's able to go to someone who like has some symptoms in their life that they may want to have addressed. Like something about their life is not ideal, and they want to they want to like address like this discomfort that they're feeling in their life, or they might even recognize like, I know what this problem is that I want to solve. And if your copy is able to grab the attention of the people there where they're largely unaware of like what the solution is, and able to present them like, hey, I understand your problem and I understand why it's so challenging and frustrating. And I actually understand like why you haven't solved it yet. And in fact, I can tell you exactly why you haven't solved it yet. And I can tell you what your solution needs to be in order to solve that problem or challenge or this unease in your life. And in fact, I can tell you not only what that solution needs to be and what it needs to contain and what it needs to do for you, but I've actually put that solution together for you. I have that solution for you, and I'd like to give it to you today. And all that you have to do to get that solution today is to respond to this offer that I'm making to you. And in fact, I'm going to make it super easy and compelling for you to respond and risk-free and all of that. And that is like what's going on in this long copy that's 10,000 words or more. Like I've written copy that's generated well into the seven figures, that 12,000 words plus. When we recorded a video sales letter, it was well over an hour. And it worked because it was able to bring people into the message in a compelling way, in an emotional way. And it was able to pull them through that to the point where they recognized that if they wanted to address what we were talking about, they needed the solution that we were going to put in front of them. And yeah, long copy, it works. It's still working today. It's working as well as ever. When you have a complex sale to make, no matter what media you're going to put this message in, having a more complete sales message that answers every sales question and objection, that lays out the full sales proposition, like that's what it takes to convert. And don't skimp on it, because the worst thing that can happen. So let's take this into a completely different space for a moment. So imagine that you are a salesperson and you are you're trying to make sales of your product, and you have the opportunity to have a conversation with a prospect. Well, the way that a lot of people think about copywriting, they say, oh, you shouldn't spend more than like 4 minutes having a conversation with that prospect because that prospect doesn't have an attention span. But what happens if you get to 4 minutes with that prospect and they have unanswered questions? What happens if you didn't quite tell them enough, but they're still interested in hearing more? What happens if like your sales message did not do a good enough job in those 4 minutes of having like an impact to get the person to buy? Do you just stop talking and like don't answer any further questions or whatever? Or do you continue the conversation until that prospect gets to the point where there's no unanswered questions, where they understand exactly the benefit of buying, where they can imagine themselves in the future having already benefited from your product or service? Of course, you want to continue communicating with them until you've addressed every objection and until you've given them all the benefits and until you have helped them imagine what life is like after they've gotten the benefit of the product or service. And if you do that, that's how you convert them. And sometimes that conversation is going to take 45 minutes. Sometimes it's going to take an hour. Sometimes it's going to take longer. And if that's what it takes to close the deal, like that's what you got to do. And any good salesperson is gonna continue that conversation until the conversation is over. So why should a copywriter have some obligatory limit of like, oh, I can only have my sales conversation last 4 minutes versus 45 if 45 is what it takes to close the sale? To quote my friend and client Brian Kurtz, who put on the Titans of Direct Response event, there's no copy that's too short or too long. There's only copy that's too boring and too uninteresting to make people to engage and buy. Like, maybe that's a paraphrase, but like if your copy is boring, it's already too long. If it's not interesting, it's already too long. But if your copy captures the attention and keeps people interested and engaged, it doesn't matter how long it is because people are going to keep reading, just like they're going to keep binge watching their favorite shows on Netflix. So that's my answer. If you want more resources on how to write long copy that sells, check out the links in the description. My name is Roy Furr. This is a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Feel free to share your stories of long copy that worked in the description, or if you have any questions about writing copy that you'd like me to answer. Also, I said in the description in the comments, leave a comment below, let me know. Also click that like button so you get more content like this delivered to you in the future. And so the magical algorithms of the internet know to share this content with more people like you. If you know people who would get value out of this video, you can share it with them directly and subscribe. Subscribe here. You can also go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com to get my daily emails on copywriting, marketing, business building, selling, direct response, and more. Again, my name is Roy Furr. This is a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Thank you for watching. I hope you've gotten a lot of value, and I hope that you challenge yourself to write more compelling copy that's longer, that is able to make more sales for you, for your business, for your clients, for whatever it's for your offers. I will see you again in your next video issue. I'll see you again soon. Bye.